You know, I kind of feel like playing Kingdom Hearts 2 again. I'm just not sure how I want to... Yeah, it's Mickey. I'm gonna try to play the game as Mickey. So a couple of years ago, I attempted to beat all the bosses in Kingdom Hearts 2 as Riku. It went okay-ish, I guess. And now I'm returning to the game, and this time I'm gonna try to do the exact same thing, except I'm gonna do it with the Disney Mouse, Mickey Mouse, Michael, the rodent. Alright, so as I'm assuming most people watching this video would know already, Mickey is a playable character. In certain boss battles, if you die, Mickey will step in and basically give you a get-out-of-death-free card. But actually fighting the bosses as Mickey is kind of a mixed bag. His ability to fight bosses borders from okay to complete dog doo-doo. And that's without to mention the fact that he has no finishers, so he can't actually kill bosses. So to make this doable, he needs an upgrade. Damn, that's a horrible image. The Mickey that I'm going to be using the majority of the time was a special code made by somebody eons ago on an old forum. So what I'm dubbing the Boss Killer Mickey has a few differences between his base form counterpart. He has less health, but can use items. He has one gigantic negative. Don't worry about what it is just yet, you'll see it a lot. Neither of them can use Pearl, but that's just the way the codes work. And the most obvious, he's dual wielding. Now, this Keyblade on his back is the thing that's allowing him to finish the bosses, you know, because the original can't. It also gives him the partial ability to actually block things with efficiency, since the original also can't do that. It does slightly alter his attack, but his moveset remains the same. Now, I really didn't want to use a Mickey this modded, so I was trying to look up alternatives to this. I did read some posts that said if you switch Mickey's Keyblade out to another one, you'd actually be able to kill the bosses. Well, I tried that a couple times, and most of the time when I did that, I got whatever this monstrosity is. Yeah, you try to change the weapon, it turns into a trick ghost. For whatever reason. And if you're curious about it, it doesn't do damage. It doesn't even actually interact with whatever I'm trying to hit either. All it is a glitched, useless mess. This means I either jacked up the code or it doesn't work. Either way, I couldn't swap his weapon. So I gotta use a different Mickey. Does that kind of make this not legit? Obviously, but this wasn't gonna be possible anyway completely. Base form Mickey just isn't good enough to deal with the later parts of the game. Trust me though, it's still gonna be terrible, especially since he's going in there solo. And compared to when I played the game as Riku, a lot of the bigger bosses are actually not gonna freeze this time. Well, most of them. Before I begin, I would like to give a special shout out to the code makers on khvids.net, because that is where I've been getting my codes for years now. And I'm not a modder, okay? I basically would look like this if I was trying to mod something. I don't really know for sure, but for some reason I feel like making the codes back in the day was probably a pain in the ass trial and error effort. So I just want to thank them for the work that they put in on the codes all those years ago. Just appreciate your mod makers, folks. Alright, let's get into it, Mouse.
What is this Mickey Mouse shit?
Alright, who starts this game off again? Oh yeah, Seifer. I'm sure that Seifer can hold his own against Mickey, right? Completely decimated. You know, I was going to say something about how dumb Seifer's stance looked, holding that struggle bat, but that's because I forgot the universe this guy comes from, where they just shove sword blades into their pistols. Hell, this fight might go a little bit better for him if he actually did pull a Glock out of my ass. Either way, the way Mickey slaps that guard right out of his face is just plain disrespectful. Which I guess he deserves it. He just lost a fight in a single combo. Past Seifer, the next boss is obviously Twilight Thorn, but before I got to Twilight Thorn, I wanted to see how far I can get in the game as Mickey. So on the second day, you're supposed to do odd jobs to make money. Well, doing those odd jobs as Mickey, he's really terrible at them. The one where you gotta hit the bag up the ramp, you'll be there for years. I don't think he's able to do it at all. The one where you're supposed to deliver the mail on the skateboard? Evidently, Mickey is not a very big fan of skateboarding because he refuses to do it. That or the skateboard has offended him in such a way that he needs to assert dominance over it. Well, that's a no-go. The one where you hit the ball in the air over and over again without letting it touch the ground? He's very bad at it. I think it's a pretty good example on why his combos are just terrible. If anything's moving faster than like 3 miles an hour, he can't hit it worth a damn. When you fuck this up, I do not think this little girl is lying when she says this. Well, let's see what else Mickey can do. Can he put some posters on the wall? No. No, he can't. I do not think this mouse is meant for manual labor besides fighting. Well, with the junk minigame, he can do it, just really, really poorly. Alright, well how about killing some fucking bees? He should be able to do that, right? Well, actually, yeah, he can. So this is the only way he can make money. The funny part is he actually does this minigame better than Roxas does. Alright, so he gets his money and now we can move on to Twilight Thorn. Alright, well we gotta do the whole RC thing just like we would normally do with Roxas, right? So, once we're past that, we can actually really start the fight against him. Okay. Where is Twilight Thorn? Alright, I guess he's not coming back. Dude just soft locks me and walks about the fight. Alright, well you know what, let's try that again. Mickey's got some insane jump height, so let me hit him before the fight even starts. Okay, well this looks familiar. Like Riku, Mickey is nowhere to be found, but I'm still stuck in this. But after it's over, unlike Riku, I'm not stuck in the middle, I'm stuck on the edge. So now I'm just stuck here pondering why that's even different. But now he finally continues the move. Really surprising to me here was the fact that this energy ball actually exists again, because when I did this with Riku, he had none. Still can't do anything here though, I still get sucked into it. And I'm still T-stanced, and apparently Twilight Thorn finds that very hilarious. Well, after all that, I still have to take hits to get out of that, and I'm basically at 1 HP before I can even start fighting him. So I'm just going to say right now, there's no way you can win this fight without using items. And obviously, as you can see, using items as Mickey makes you invisible. Well, the reason for that is the animation they use for Mickey using an item is the same one he uses when he gives Sora a potion. And when Mickey does that, he's supposed to teleport out of the fight. Well, since I'm still playing as Mickey, it just puts me back down on the ground and I'm invisible for the rest of the fight. And the only difference between being invisible and visible is that it's harder for me to see what the hell I'm doing. So that's the downside to using items. Which between dying or that, I'll take this, I guess. Once Twilight Thorn is done trying to do everything to get the crick out of his neck apparently, I end up dying. And this time, for some reason, Twilight Thorn was not a big fan of me hitting him. Because after that, whenever I hit him, he would get that good old rigor mortis shit going again. Seems familiar. Although this time I can actually knock him out of it, and he can continue the fight. But after I did that, he did something really crazy to me. For whatever reason, he decided to want to go ahead and do his RC while I wasn't even fucking in it. You know, I never knew shadow boxing could literally cause you damage if you just sat there and watched it. After he was done whiffing the air, he decided that we should go back into the RC and do it right this time. But for some reason, this time he only did like the first part of it, and it got me stuck in a T-stance while I was invisible. And then he did this move right here that I feel like I've seen about twice ever. And oddly enough, even though he hit me, it didn't even knock me out of T-stance. I still couldn't move after that. Well, it means I'm really screwed. It makes me feel like the only person in the world to ever die to this attack. Alright, well, here I go. I restart Twilight Thorn again. And could it get any more weird? Well, somehow the answer's actually yeah. What in the flying fuck? Yeah, I don't really have an explanation for you on that one. At all. The rest of the fight pretty much goes the exact same as what you've already seen. The only difference is he decided to stand still for me instead of move, so he died. Now, I know you're probably questioning how I just killed him because I'm not using the boss killer Mickey. Well, this was the only boss in the game where I used a special code that has to do with Roxas, and I'll show you why I didn't use it anywhere after this. Alright, well, here we are at the Sandlot, where you're supposed to be after you've killed Twilight Thorn. Mickey doesn't have a weapon, and I jump and crash the game. And that's why I never use the code anymore, because that's what happened everywhere after that. I mean, it happened immediately, too, in the next fight against Hayner.
Ready, Roxas?
No, Hayner, Roxas is not ready. And the game isn't either, apparently. You know, it's funny that Crash and Mickey jump, because I swear, when Mickey jumps, it looks like he's breaking his back. Alright, well, that's enough of that stupid shit. We're moving on. And speaking of Hayner, he's the next victim. Because just like Seifer, he has no chance in hell of beating Mickey. Although, to be fair to Hayner, unlike Seifer, he actually has a fatter health bar, and actually does get some hits in on this fight, but they're mostly hits from me being stupid, and me not caring about him hitting me because his damage is absolutely pitiful. This fight also kind of demonstrates a downside to Mickey, because when Mickey gets hit, he can go right back into hitting. So since I'm spamming the X button all the time, that's going to happen a lot. I'm sure that will not fuck me over later, right? Anyway, Hayner's toast. Moving on. So, now we got Vivi. And you know, I'd like to imagine this fight is like two little Yodas fighting around each other. And it might be like that if Vivi actually put up a fight, because he really doesn't. Mickey he's too fast for Vivi. Roxas is way too slow for Vivi, Mickey's way too fast for him. I mean, already Mickey has basically torched his ass and it's been 15 seconds, and hasn't taken a hit. And look, it's not even just Mickey. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but if you were Roxas and you just do one combo to Vivi and walk across the arena and just stare at him, he basically just gives up. I mean, he'll come towards you eventually, but it takes the whole minute for him to get across the arena to you because he's just so disinterested in moving. I guess it's just too much effort to walk across this damn ring. In any case, he can't beat Mickey. Well, we finally got a boss on our hands, so it's actually time to break out Boss Killer Mickey. So let's see how he does against Axel 1. But there's a better question for Axel, and it's called, how the hell do I live through this? Because from the looks of it, it does not look like he has an answer. Look, now I know that looked terrible, but if there's going to be any point in the game where Boss Killer Mickey's overpowered, it's at the beginning. And to be fair, he just sat down and let me kill him. So, I think he just accepted the inevitable. Alright, moving on to the next boss, it's Mickey versus Axel 2.
Come here, I'll make it all stop.
Oh, hold on. Mickey versus Axel 2. What the fuck? Why is Roxas the boss? Mickey versus Axel 2.
Come here.
Okay, the point I'm trying to make here is the fact that I had to go make the dual-wield Roxas code myself, because I could not find it on the internet. So after giving myself a fucking lobotomy doing that, it's finally Mickey versus Axel 2. And now that it is Mickey versus Axel 2, it's finally time to introduce you to the mystery negative that is on Boss Killer Mickey. Pretty much every single reaction command in the game, if done as Boss Killer Mickey, will crash the game. I don't know, you think that's a major negative? I'm not sure. My first thought after that is that basically ruins the run. But you'd actually be surprised by how many bosses you can kill without reaction commands. Just really piss poorly. So now knowing that, going back to Axel, anytime he goes into the wall, there's nothing I can really do besides jump and wait for him to pop back out. Which unfortunately for me, when you don't do the reaction command, he loves to stay inside the wall a lot. And I always forget that this version of the fight actually has passive damage from the floor like the data version, it's just really slow. So Axel can just wait me out in this fight and clip me and kill me. He's such a prick about this wall, too. He'll just go back and forth from being in it to out of it. He basically lives in there. And you know, I don't even feel good about the way Mickey kills him here, because I'm just spamming the X button to kill this guy. Because Mickey just flails around his head without killing him. It takes me forever to get the combo finisher. If you don't use a reaction command, this is a very annoying fight. Alright, next is Shan-Yu. And remember at the beginning of the video when I said I could not change Mickey's Keyblade into one of Sora's Keyblades because it would turn to a Trick Ghost? Well, I actually found a way to give him Kingdom Key. So, this might actually work. I might not have to use a Boss Killer Mickey. This could actually work. Yeah, of course it couldn't. So, when you give Mickey Kingdom Key, there's two problems with it. One, he cannot ground attack because he T-stances. Two, for some reason, when you jump and jump attack, Mickey acts like he's on fucking Jupiter trying to jump. He cannot do it worth a shit. So, trying to get Mickey to use Kingdom Key, it ain't working. Evidently, Sora is the most jacked 15-year-old on the planet, because this Kingdom Key weighs 1,000,000 pounds. As a side note, you want to see the most badass thing I've ever seen Shan-Yu do in this game? Watch this shit. Hold up, wait a minute. Back that up right now. What the hell was that shit? What, did you just bloodbend my fucking ass? And if you're wondering what happens if Mickey dies in a fight where he can normally show up anyway, here comes his cousin Mikkel. It's too bad he shows up with the same weapon, because this fight actually might be winnable if I use normal Mickey here. But hey, at least he can use Pearl, so I guess there's that. Well, switching over to Boss Killer Mickey, because you have to, he's not much of a challenge, to be honest. I forgot to turn Mulan off, but she doesn't really make much of a difference in this fight regardless, and I didn't really feel like going back in there and re-recording this fight. So, Mickey can solo him, don't worry about it. Alright, so leaving China, next up is Cerberus. And oh shit, I forgot to turn Orn off. Well. Ooh. That's always a good sign, isn't it? You know what, let me just try one more time to put Kingdom Key on the base, Mickey. Let me just try one more time. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to try it anymore. Well, at this point, I didn't have a clue how to take Orn out of the fight, so I just gave him no weapon. And I tried this fight with base 4 Mickey. And the funny part about this fight with base Mickey is in the main game, the fastest way to kill Cerberus is just go into Mickey by dying as Sora and using Pearl. Well, I ain't got that, so this is going to be a damn slog. It's not too terrible to whittle Cerberus down to 1 HP, and I would kill him if I could at this point, but obviously I can't. The better question is, though, is how come when I die playing as regular Mickey, does Mickey get thrown into the goddamn washing machine? Oh boy, here comes Miguel. What does he think of all this? Well, if Miguel looks up, he's probably thinking he's seeing the most paranormal activity of his life, because he's seeing his cousin's corpse go in Mach speed in a circle on the ceiling. Well, that's enough spookies for one day. Let's switch over to Boss Killer Mickey. And since Mickey is copying Sora's health and resistances, Cerberus does a lot of damage to him, and I die multiple times to this, actually. So this fight is actually harder as Boss Killer Mickey than it is as Base Mickey. And oh goody, here come the dreaded rocks again to kill me. I swear, every time I come to this world, I'm dying to rocks. And also, when you're playing as Boss Killer Mickey, Miguel crashes the game. He just doesn't care. I don't understand it. And as the Boss Killer, you gotta watch out for reaction command grabs. These bosses got a touch so cold it makes the world stop. Well, with enough flailing around, I was able to scrape out a victory on this boss. It was not a fun fight, though. And after Cerberus, here comes the worst phrase you could ever hear playing as anybody but Sora.
Dance, water, dance!
What's up, Demyx? I have not missed you at all. Well, obviously I'm Boss Killer Mickey, so reaction commands aren't going to work, and even if they did, they'd probably just T-stance me. But when I was playing as Riku, I couldn't even kill more than 20 of these things. Can Mickey do that? Oh my lord, yes he can, so there's actually a shot at this. One problem with that though, Mickey's combos for mobs are really dog shit. I mean really man, what is this trash? What am I trying to do, kill him or brush his fucking teeth? Also look, Mickey has 2 finishers. For this fight, one is significantly better than the other. He's got this one where he sweeps the whole area and he can kill like 8 to 13 of them in one sweep. That is if you're standing near Demyx. If you're not standing near him at all in this fight, you're not killing any of these things, because they don't group up well anywhere past like 5 feet from him. Then he's got this second one that just takes way too long and kills very few of them. Basically, if you ever see that combo finisher, this fight is chalked, because time is of the essence that bad in this fight. The Keyblade that's on his back also has this shitty side effect of hitting these guys and turning them into the notes when I jump up or jump down from the air. And look, you have to turn them into notes to kill them, but not turning them into notes into groups leaves stragglers that hit you when you're trying to kill other notes. So it's really not helpful. Also, ground combos, never use them because Mickey loves to whiff and just get himself killed. Sometimes I would use items to try to continue this, but there's not really a point. If I have to stop to use items, I've already wasted too much time. Look, let's do some quick maths here. You have 1 minute and 20 seconds to kill 100 water clones. That means Mickey would basically have to be killing about 12 or 12 and a half clones every 10 seconds. I'll tell you right now, that is not sustainable. It is not something that happens consistently. On mediocre attempts at this, I would be in the 40 to 30 range. He's coming up 30 or 40 short, or he's dying before he gets there. On a lot of these attempts, if I didn't get 10 kills in 10 seconds, I just ended it, because it ain't going to get any better. Rarely would I get one that ended in the 20s, and this attempt right here was the best one I probably had in the 2 hours I spent trying this fight. And if Mickey's ground combos had not fucked me over here, I might have had a chance at actually completing this. I eventually switched over to base form Mickey to attempt this, just because I couldn't stand the second Keyblade hitting the dudes into notes. But it didn't get much better, it also didn't get much worse, so I don't know. This whole segment is just so annoying because you'll forget a note being across the map and they'll just hit you out of a combo. And since Mickey's combos are so slow, it pulls your time off so bad. Notes just clipping me from the edge of the map wasted so many good attempts at this. And that's probably the reason I tried this for 2 hours, because it's like on that threshold of feeling like it's possible, but you have to have this like godlike near perfect run for it to happen. So, I didn't complete this. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I just couldn't stand doing it anymore.
Really? Is that all you got?
Yeah, that is all I got. I'll see you again in like 7 worlds, man. Alright, moving away from dances with water, here comes our next boss, and it's Pete! And for those that did not watch the Riku video, Pete was one of the hardest bosses in the game. Fighting him with Riku was a fucking crash-tastrophe, where if I did basically anything besides stay on the ground and hit him, the game would say no. Well, with Mickey, it's actually a lot more stable. Still never press the triangle button though. Nothing good will ever come from it. Regarding actually fighting him as Mickey, the bombs in the first phase are annoying, his damage has always been annoying no matter who you're playing as, and Mickey's immediate air recovery does not help me at all. All you gotta do to get to the second phase anyway, though, is wait, so it's pretty easy to move on. If the game didn't crash because I didn't skip the cutscene fast enough. Okay, well after speeding through all that again, I'm gonna have to remember to skip the cutscene this time. Hold up, wait a minute, I gotta take Hercules out. This is a solo, I can't have you, man. There we go, that's better. Okay, well now I can finally fight Pete Phase 2. God damn. Well, the second phase is a lot harder than the first, just because I come in here with basically no health, and I end up having my ass slapped right into the wall. The best way I went about this is jumping up and trying to hit the Heartless and kill them as fast as possible so I didn't have to contend with Pete's ball at the same time. After the Heartless are finished off, it's not too bad as long as you're careful. I know, kind of disappointing, right? When he loses the ability to freeze my game, he can't do much. Who could have guessed? And for our next boss, we have Mike Glennon, also known as the Hydra. And since the whole idea of being able to kill the Hydra is beheading him multiple times, and that's only achievable by a reaction command, this fight can only be summed up in one word. No. Well, how about trying it as base form, Mickey? He can do some reaction commands sometimes. Nope. Not really surprised by this. Riku couldn't do this either. Now, I could have just gave up and moved on past this immediately, but come on, what's the fun in that? Let's see if I can have Sora be my party member and do the reaction command for me. When you have Sora as a party member, your controls are his controls, so you control both the player 1 and Sora as the party member. Problem with that, though, is the game still thinks Sora is the most important dude around. So, when he dies, I die. And I just love that I can still get saved by Mickey while playing as Mickey. And now I'm playing as Mickey, while playing as Mickey, while playing as Sora. Sounds like something Nomura would write. Well, the only thing I can do here is Mikolash is try to get Sora back in the fight with D-Charge. Well, apparently Mikolash was a little confused here because he decides to heal his cousin instead of healing the guy that's actually dead. And he T-stances me doing that too, isn't that nice? And Sora's just stuck there forever, helpless. Poor kid is just in a continuous state of anguish, forever. I eventually get Sora near the Hydra to be able to do this while he's still alive, and can you guess what happens? Nothing. Kinda figured it wouldn't be that easy. I got him a little closer and tried it again, but just having his presence here obviously isn't enough to get this reaction command to work properly. I went back in and played the fight normally too, because I just wanted to see how Mickey did with this part where it's right after you cut his head off. Or you know, the part where you're supposed to get up on the Hydra's back! And I'll tell you, there's a reason they spam that voice line at you, because if you don't get up on the Hydra's back, and you want this thing to attack you, you'll be sitting here for a little while, because this thing has very little interest in actually attacking you at this part. At least when he finally does, he has the common courtesy to just one-shot my ass. But I can see why they don't really want Mickey at this part either, because, hey, it's just more heads to cut off, you can't do it. Even if you stun the heads as Mickey and then try to go back to Sora before they're unstunned, it's not even able to happen. They'll be unstunned before Sora can even get back up and do the reaction command. So there's no convoluted way to beat this boss as Mickey. There's no regular way, there's no convoluted way. Hydra's undefeated. And see, I did get up on his back. Sorry, Phil. It don't work. You know another boss that requires a reaction command to continue its fight? Thresholder. So I didn't even go into this using Boss Killer Mickey. What was the point? We know where that's going to go. I just started with base form Mickey and went from there. And the fight itself isn't that hard. Well, the problem with Thresholder is I need to do his RC to get him out of the door. And since I'm base form, I have no finishers. Well, while I was thinking I had no chance at this anymore, I remembered that RCs can count as finishers. So I used the Hookbat's RC to use his RC. Now obviously using his RC freezes me, but as long as there's a Hookbat left to hit me, I can get out of it. This means I could use the Hookbat's RC to win the fight. Too bad I killed them all already and only 2 groups spawn. What's really annoying about this fight though, a lot of the times I'll end up killing a lot of the Hookbats to get his health back to 1 so I can get him out of the door again. And when I only got 1 Hookbat, I can't really use anything but his RC to damage the door, or I'll risk killing him, and then I'll have no finisher again. That wouldn't really be a problem if the Hookbat actually liked to do the RC. He really seems keen on just flying over me and doing nothing with his life. Doesn't really help that his RC is also really inaccurate too. So there were a few times where my impatience got the better of me and I just killed him by accident. Which is stupid because all it does is soft lock me. But look, even when I get him out of the wall finally, the Hookbat has no interest in getting me out of T-stance either. Dude's just a really passive Heartless. And I don't know if it's really true or not, but I swear I found a correlation between locking onto him over and over again and him eventually wanting to do the RC. It wasn't very consistent, and yeah, I'm not sure, but it just seemed like he'd like to do it more when I would lock on and lock off of him over and over again. Definitely was not consistent enough to keep me from dying though. On the attempt where I won, I just kept 3 bats alive instead of just the 1, and it made this much easier. And really, I'm not sure why this reaction command doesn't have Mickey just T-stance like all the other ones do. I'm guessing it might be because it's an RC that sends you in the air. because I noticed Mickey does this kind of little hop and then comes back down. But in any case, this is probably one of the only bosses base form Mickey can actually kill legitimately. Alright, next boss is the Biest. And oh look, no boss killer Mickey again. I'll give you 3 guesses why. Well, immediately we have the reaction command to calm him down to be able to hit him. Well, it works. It also T-stances me, so it doesn't really do me any good. Not that I really need it anyway. It's not that hard to knock him down. Problem is, after his health bar is 0, I get a reaction command that, well... yeah, it ain't working, man. Oh, wait. Oh, Mickey, what are you doing down there? Well, once Mickey's done giving him the mystery Mouska mouth, I go T-stance and then get spat back out. Odd thing is, when I did this with Riku, this RC was kind of half-ass working. It would go, but it wouldn't. And I tried this fight a lot with him, and eventually it ended up working. And to this day, I still don't know how. And I tried a lot of different things to try to get it to work as Mickey. It just doesn't like to work as him at all. I put Donald and Goofy in the fight. That didn't make a difference. I tried replacing Cogsworth with somebody else from the world, like Lumiere. It doesn't really help me out, though, because when I try to go charge, he's not near me, so it doesn't matter. And if I try to go to him, he wants to have a fucking conversation with me. Okay, well now I'm just going to try all manners of shit to see if anything would work. How about Pooh Bear on my fucking leg? Does that work? No, who could have guessed? How about Yuffie? At least she'll help me fight. And that's about as much as she'll do. She does not have any interest in helping me with this rash command. How about good old T-I-double-G-R while he's T-stanced? Look, even he knows this shit ain't working. Okay, well look, the game has given me explicit directions that it wants Cogsworth's help for me to do this. Okay, I got you, man. I'll tell you what, if 3 Cogsworths aren't enough, I am never helping you, man. Well, unfortunately for Biest, when there's more than 1 Cogsworth, all the extra Cogsworths try to do is bite his kneecaps while I do the RC. And it still don't work, so nothing changes. Oh, sorry, Biest, I guess Mickey just has no power to pull this light out of Cogsworth's ass. So, I guess you win. But I didn't try 4 Cogsworths! Alright, I promise I'm done. Alright, next up we got the Ballroom Ball plus his second phase. And I honestly thought this fight would be a little bit harder, because this fight has a lot of reaction commands, but none of them are actually mandatory. Just not doing them makes the fight last a lot longer. Now, reaction commands aren't the only thing I have to watch out for, because if it's an animation-based thing, it can freeze Mickey, like this hole-in-the-ground teeth attack that he would do right here. Since Mickey's finishers are few and far between, I had this guy at 1 health for a very long time, just chasing him around the arena. And that's what sucks about not using reaction commands in this fight, because if you don't, he just flies away the moment you get him out of whatever he's in, the pillar or the chandelier or whatever. Eventually, the floating testicle decided to sit still in the air and let me do 1 finisher on him so I could actually move on. But going into his second phase, you share the health that you came in there with from the first phase, so you're probably DOA. Another thing to watch out for in this second phase is his grab attack, because if he does even the slightest frame of it, it's an immediate case of the freeze. Which honestly, until these grabs start freezing you, you never really notice how many of them are actually in the game. Truly, at low health, I think there really isn't a strategy for this boss. It's really just flail around, hope you get enough blocks in while you're hitting, and eventually you might win. Alright, so I know the next world is Timeless River, but before you get to Timeless River, you have to escort Minnie. I kind of just wanted to see that king-queen dynamic one time at least, but Mickey does not do a very good job at this. Apparently, the act of his voice calling out her name is enough to get his ass to stand completely still. It's almost like he's afraid to do it. Well, since I know that's not going to work, I remember you can just push her against the wall and push her ass down the hallway. And this is actually the fastest way you can do it. You can do this even with Sora. Once you're at the door, you can use your reaction command and Mickey assumes the pose, and you're done with the first part. This next god-awful part is so much worse. Now, it's not worse for the fact that it's that much harder, it's just way more time-consuming because there's like 30 of these towers in the room, and you cannot push her forward until they're basically all dead. Also, personally, it just sucked for me because I was down to the last 2, and I got stupid and got myself killed. Skill issue. And I'll tell you, Minnie takes a lot of damage in this part. If you were playing this normally, I don't know how she would die. You'd have to be really incompetent, or you just left the game on and walked out of your house. Anyway, after killing the last Heartless, all I need to do is shove her to the other end of this ginormous room. Which actually takes like 2 whole minutes, so that's really fun. Oh, I see why she can't move worth a shit. Bitch ain't got no legs.
Bitch ain't got no legs.
Ain't even got legs.
Alright, so now that we're in Black and Whiteville, there's only one boss in this entire world, and it's Pete over and over again, except this one's the baby version. You know, surprisingly, I came in here with base for Mickey, expecting that you might not need a finisher for him, since he's so weak, but he actually requires one. So that means I actually have to break out Boss Killer Mickey for the weakest boss in the game. Something about Boss Killer Mickey, though, makes Pete go up in the air over and over again when I hit him just once, which made this fight last a lot longer than it should have for literally no reason. Which I've started to notice is becoming the theme of this run. I honestly don't think anything you could play as in this game could lose to this Pete. And oh boy, here's my favorite boss fight of the game, the boat. Yippee! This thing's like the exact opposite of the last boss I just fought. I don't think you can play as anything but Sora and beat this, legitly. Just like when I played as Riku, you can hit these things back with a physical attack, but just the first time. You can't hit them all the way back towards Pete. So I don't really know what the point of the first parry is if you can't capitalize on it. And I know damn well the reaction command's not going to do anything for me, which I tried anyway, and obviously I get exactly what I thought I would get. I tried Boss Killer Mickey to see if anything would be different, and I even get a combo finisher on this barrel, and it still won't go back to Pete. I just don't get what the point of the parry is when it won't even work with a finisher after the parry. So yet again, the boat is undefeated. I don't see a way you can kill this thing. Unless I become someone unbelievable. Is that good enough? I want to call that good enough. Well, you know why it's not good enough? Look at this shit! The fucking claw has taken Lingering Will. I tell you what, this boat is truly something else. When even the Lingering Will can't kill it, you know you get a strong-ass gimmick. Alright, so praise God, we're finally at the end of Pete here with his last boss fight, and I took the other Pete out. Well, apparently the game isn't a really big fan of that, because if you get to the part where he flips the screen, it'll just crash without that Pete. So I have to keep that Pete in this fight, unfortunately. But I mean, he does no damage, and he's pretty much just a nuisance to me. So, I mean, it's whatever. Besides the beginning part, this fight isn't much of anything, and I win pretty easily. Sorry I ain't got more to say about it, to be honest. Moving on from Peteville, we go to Port Royal, where there's only one boss, Barbossa. And Jack has to be here because he's integral to the fight. Unfortunately. Because as I learned with Riku, the only thing Barbossa really cares about in this fight is trying to kill Jack. I mean, seriously, the dude has almost like no aggro to me whatsoever, the entire fight. Most of it's just me getting in between him and Jack. And when the Heartless pops out, I can't do anything to protect him because it's dark. You know, this fight almost feels like a soft gimmick with the way this shit works. And yeah, the reaction commands always look good, don't they? What really sucks about Barbossa, it seems like a lot of the times when he's dead set on going for Jack, he has like hyper armor, so I can't even hit him out of it. This is also the point in the game where I'll say that base Mickey is starting to get really weak. His damage just really isn't cutting it anymore. This fight just boils down to being extremely annoying because Jack is so weak and you just cannot protect him at all. And at any point if I ever heard, "Can I try a taste of this?"
Can I try a taste of this?
I know Jack would be 6 feet under immediately. I feel like it's kind of understated how useless Jack is when fighting Barbossa by himself. He is fucking terrible. You know, Seifer could learn a thing or two from Barbossa because he loves to pull the pistol on Mickey. I swear to you that in the entire time I was fighting this boss that he never pulled this pistol on Jack and would just pull it on Mickey and shoot him right in the forehead. I mean, look at this draw time. Damn, Arthur Morgan, calm the fuck down. But look at this one. He don't even need the damn gun anymore. He's firing that shit with his bone finger. Anyway, I eventually was able to actually get him down to 1 health as base 4 Mickey. So if base 4 Mickey could kill bosses, he could kill Barbossa. But he can't, so we gotta bring in the big guns. And using Boss Killer Mickey, this fight does get easier, but it doesn't get overwhelmingly easy. And also, I don't know what the hell happens here. I think he's getting ready to summon his Heartless back out, and for whatever reason, playing as Boss Killer Mickey, that crashes my game. All that really means, though, is I have to kill him before he does that, which is not that difficult. So I get past him, with pretty much no help from Jack. Really annoying fight. Alright, up next we got Fire and Blizzard Lord, and to be honest, I would actually call these like the second easiest boss in the game. So there's not really much to say about them. The only thing I really found interesting about this fight is that for some reason when I'm playing as Mickey, they just kind of go into their like worst attack immediately instead of like kind of floating around like they normally do. Once again, it's one of those things I just don't really get why it happens, but it happens. Mickey can't even get past their damage threshold for them to explode into little tiny Heartless, so on to Boss Killer Mickey. And switching over to Boss Killer Mickey, look, this fight is just easy. I mean, that's all there is to say about it. It's just way, way too easy. It's one of those fights where you could probably go to sleep and still win. Alright, next world is Hot Topic's Warehouse, Halloween Town. And we got Prison Keeper on tap, and I've never ever liked this boss. And I'm not going to talk about him a whole lot here. Comparing this fight to when you're fighting him with Sora, at least Mickey has extreme verticality, so when shot gets swallowed by this Heartless and starts going straight up, I can get right to it. And really, the only part of this fight that Mickey for some reason couldn't deal with was spamming of bites. He don't really stand a chance though, so it's just mash X till he's dead. Now, if I could erase any boss fight from any Kingdom Hearts game, it would 100% be any boss fight that has to deal with stupid-ass Oogie Boogie. Out of all 3 times that you fight him between KH1 and KH2, I don't think I like a single one of his fights at all. And look, anyway, I mean, look at Mickey. He immediately can't deal with the gimmick. He's locked until he gets stabbed in the back of the head with a spike. Alright, so already this fight's unwinnable as base for Mickey because you can't hit the box's back and you can't hit him because of gimmick reasons. Don't worry, you can go through these little blue portals though. Like that does you any good. As Boss Killer Mickey, I turn my attention to trying to hit the boxes with physical attacks, you know, like the thing in Timeless River where I tried to do with Pete's bullshit off his boat. Well, it don't work here either, so it don't really matter. I just can't stand this dude talks the whole time and stays in this box the whole time. So you know what I'm going to try? I'm going to try to bring him down to me. Well, evidently that don't work too well because he gets put in the spikes back there and even they can't hit him. This Oogie Boogie is invulnerable to everything. After I figured that out, I got hit by a fist so damn hard that I started windshield wiping the sides of the arena. I kept screwing with the fight and eventually I somehow made the conveyor belt not actually even work as a conveyor belt anymore. So all the presents kept stacking up. I'm actually kind of curious, I didn't do it, but if I removed the fist, because it was the only thing destroying these boxes, I don't know how many would have actually been on this conveyor belt, because they did keep spawning over and over again. Eventually, I was somehow able to find a way to get Oogie Boogie out of his box and exist in front of me and fall out of nothing, and I still couldn't hit him. It's weird too, because I've never seen Oogie Boogie be in this like stunned state and also be invincible at the same time. Well, with that note, we know it's not beatable by Mickey, so I brought in the Gimmick Tester. And by Caveman slamming every button on the controller, I figured out a way to get out of the arena. But even being able to aim this properly, that is one beefy-ass gimmick. There was nothing I could really do as Lingering Will that would actually hit him, and I tried just about every single attack he had. Also, doing the blue tunnel reaction command while being Lingering Will and being invisible, apparently that conveyor belt will carry you out of the map. And that constant running sound you're hearing, that's me being stuck. I can't even move during this right here. So not only has his gimmick utterly defeated me, he has now also obtained the ability to kick my ass out of his boss fight. This is one sorry-ass sight. Yeah, I don't know. Every time I try to mess with this sack of shit, he just one-ups me. Gimmicks are just all-powerful, I guess. Next up is Pride Lands, and next up is these terrible damn dogs. Now there's a handful of things that make this fight really hideous as Mickey, but let's talk about Timon and Pumbaa first. Because out of all of the protect the character sequences in this game, for some reason they have the least amount of resistance. But I can't really pay attention to them too much because I got my own problems, because these hyenas start violently making my day worse. It's really unfortunate I did not come into this fight with any items. Since they do so much damage so fast, I'm usually rocking no health from the jump, which means I have to play very careful, and that means I can't protect Timon and Pumbaa. You're supposed to be using a reaction command for this fight to protect them better, but, you know, can't use them, so it don't matter. Another problem is, for some reason, they decided to give these hyenas like the most extreme blocking ability in the game. I'm always glancing hits off of them. But the reason this fight's so hard is really it's because of Mickey. His moveset just isn't equipped for this at all. The hyenas are just way too fast for him. It especially doesn't help when some of his shittier attacks show up. Like seriously, I hate this attack so much every time it shows up. It is never good. It doesn't help either that Mickey's a very vertical character and all these hyenas are always low to the ground. It's also a 3v1, so sometimes I get myself in the way of attacks that aren't even meant for me. Timon and Pumbaa are really only a problem because I have to rush the fight because of them. I only had them die on me one time. I eventually won this fight just because I was careful as possible, and I was lucky enough to have Timon and Pumbaa not be one hit from death. So, there's a lot of luck involved with this. If I ever did this again for any reason, which would be none, I'm definitely bringing items in this fight. And as if I didn't have enough fun with some African animals before this, now I get to fight a damn lion. And spoiler warning, he's one of the top 3 hardest fights in this run. I'm gonna try to list off the reasons why this boss is so horrific as fast as I can. Massive damage, he's low as fuck to the ground, stupidly annoying hyper armor, the spinaroonie, Mickey's floaty attacks are terrible here, The lion's got that ninja velocity. Mickey's instant retaliation really screws him over in the fight. But far and above anything else, this fucking electric attack that apparently he stole from Lark's scene was the biggest reason this fight took so long. There is absolutely zero safe way to deal with this attack, other than just waiting for him to stop doing it, which he eventually does, but it takes forever. Attempting to attack him while he's got it around him, it's basically free damage for him. There's just no point to do it. And the speed difference between me and him is unfucking real. I don't think I've ever had a boss in this game just break my ankles like this dude does. It's so bad it almost feels like input reading. That's how horrible it feels. But it's honestly so fast it doesn't even feel like input reading. Shit feels like fucking mind reading. Look, I obviously know that's not the way his programming is. It just feels that bad. It's a bad feeling. Mickey's combos just do him no favors in this fight, because if he whiffs anything, Scar is immediately going to retaliate. So every combo comes with a risk of death almost. You know what's another problem I had with this? My dumbass forgot to put items on again. But I'm already here, and as stubborn is, stubborn will do. So I guess I'm my own worst enemy. Scar's also got a grab, and for some reason it doesn't actually crash my game. It does what I normally would think it would do. But now I gotta sit here and stare at Scar pace back and forth while I look out into the green abyss. This grab's so powerful it can make Mickey go fucking Mach 3. And you know, that's not even the impressive part. The impressive part is that he stops me on a dime. I think this is the first time ever in this game I feel like I've been toyed with by a boss. Even though it took me 645 years to get to it, I can finally talk about it as DM, and it's actually easier as Mickey, because it's the only part of the fight where his jumping ability actually matters worth a damn. Don't worry, still died to it a couple times though. Only thing that sucks about it is when he's done with it, he has like the world's longest hyper armor, so I can't get but so greedy off of it. I think that of all the fights in the game, this is the one I sorely miss Reflect the most. You know, it's kind of fitting this guy's name is Scar, because he's left a scar on my brain, because I don't think I can ever think of this fight the same way again. This is definitely one of the most annoying fights I've ever had to complete in this game ever, in general. After Scar took my soul, the next world is Space Paranoids, and before I get to the first boss of that, I wanted to see if you could do the little bike minigame, but as Mickey, and I actually surprised myself because I got him in here, and he actually wasn't T-stanced in the bike. I could actually move freely as him. You're supposed to get to this hole in the wall. Normally walls block your bike off, but as Mickey you can just walk right around it. Only problem is when I get to the hole in the wall, it doesn't end the segment. Which is unfortunate because if you try to play this segment as Mickey normally, you're really slow, and about halfway through the walking simulator the game just crashes. Well, it was a nice little detour before I go to one of the shittiest bosses in the game. And you know, the fact that I'm on crit is really starting to show itself now, because the little amount of health I have and this damage is starting to get bad. This fight has always sucked because of the grab-ass nature of this boss and how he just circles the arena, but Mickey's even slower, so it's fucking worse. If the boss attacks with something that Mickey can't normally block with his attacks, he's wide open, and this boss loves to hit you while you're hitting it. And oh my god, look, it's the most appropriate name for a reaction command when I'm playing as Mickey. Freeze. Only safe way to fight this boss as Mickey is hit and run the entire time. You can never go for a full combo. This is also one of those rare occasions where the safest time to actually hit the boss is during his DM. And that's where I end up killing him, is during his DM. Pretty sure the only way I'll ever enjoy this boss is if you give me somebody that can one-hit him. Oh yeah, who's the next boss again?
Dance, water, dance!
You know what? I feel good. I feel like I might have a chance this time. Moving on. Alright, so while it's not really a boss, I wish I had done the 1000 Heartless Fight with Riku. So I'm gonna do it here with Mickey. But I'll tell you this right now, base for Mickey is way too weak to do this. He does not do any damage on these Heartless at all. And he has basically no defense, and can't use reaction commands, so there's no way in hell you could ever do this as base for Mickey, just calling that right now. As for Boss Killer Mickey, it's much more doable, but it's still a pain in the ass. And it's mostly a pain in the ass because it's still Mickey's moveset. Even with the defense from the second Keyblade, it still ain't enough. There's too many enemies here and he takes too many hits. It does not help that these shitty robot Heartless leave their projectiles behind even if I kill them, and Mickey can't even block them anyway. There is only one strategy I found that works well for this, and that is to never stop pressing the attack button. Ever. For any reason. And if your health is low, too bad. Keep attacking and hope you pick up green orbs. That's the only way you can get anywhere with this. If you were wondering why I'm not using items, that's why. You don't have time to. And I will speed up this entire one attempt I did at this, where my max number was 809. You know how fast this video is going? This video right now is going at 8 times the normal speed. It took 25 motherfucking minutes to get to 809. That's when I met the parry god of the Heartless, and got killed for it. Look, this is definitely possible, but I was not doing that shit again. Going back to Port Royal, we only got one boss, but I get to fight him twice. And the first time you fight him, I don't even think you can honestly call him a boss. When I fought this boss as Riku, a lot of weird and crazy shit happened, but fighting him as Mickey, nothing happens. I never realized how just neutered this boss is compared to his second part. He almost does nothing at all. He literally has only one attack, and everything else he does is just teleporting away from you after you've attacked him. Honestly, I wish he would pull some crazy shit out of his ass like he did with Riku, because without that, this fight is really boring. And you know, it's actually kind of sad because I do kind of like this fight with the chest in his second part, but Mickey can't put the coins in there at all. Like, even if I T-stance, I don't put one in at a time like Riku did. I just put none. I guess Mickey's just too short to reach over. And funnily enough, even when this boss hits me, I don't even lose the coins. It's like they're trapped in Mickey forever. I tried a couple of stupid things, like replacing the chest with either allies or random entities, and it didn't matter at all. Not that I really thought it would, the problem is definitely Mickey. I even tried making the chest this damn clock again. You know, because Cogsworth's gonna be the answer now, right? I even tried making the chest a Heartless once, but all that really accomplishes is the game getting soft-locked faster when it dies. And that's about all I could give this boss. Grim Reaper 2 is a complete bust. And after that failure, I get to go back to Gimmick Land, where I have some more failure. Well, same old song and dance here. It's boxes and Christmas Town, and I can't hit them at the kids to finish the fight, so we're screwed from jump. But actually fighting them? Yet again, here we are, Mickey's fighting enemies that are actually smaller than him, and they're the most annoying enemies on the face of God's green earth. If it's something smaller than Mickey in this game, he's getting his shit rocked. I can slightly live better as Boss Killer Mickey, but what's the point? This fight's chalked. Halloween Town is just the home of bosses I don't like, because now I get to fight the goddamn experiment. And this is a boss where Mickey's defensive game plan just crumbles. And that's mainly because of this hideous mouth laser this boss has. Mickey's best defense is his blocking while attacking, and since I can't block it, it's a detriment to my life. And once I get to the second part of this fight, I cannot be near the laser at all, because it's immediate death. This is one of those attacks where I'm sorely missing Reflect because of it. Just a side note, if you wanted to know what aerial recovery on Sora looked like on Mickey, it looks like T-stance. And it is not good. Also, anybody watching this, has anybody ever seen him shoot the laser from the head like this? I don't feel like I've ever seen that. Normally he just does it in like a 3 pattern. I don't think I've ever seen him just use one laser. Getting back to actually fighting him, once he breaks himself apart, all I gotta do is stay on the side of the arena where the head isn't, because it's the only part that has the laser. Everything else can be blocked pretty easily. So he's annoying, but he's always been annoying no matter who I'm playing as. So I get past him. Now please get me the hell out of this world. And now the reddest pimple on the Earth's ass. Jafar. Now, in the Riku video, I could not get Sora off the carpet. Well, here I just took the carpet off of Sora, and I made it into Mickey. Tiny issue coming from that, though. Sora's still there. Easy solution to that, though, was I just made Sora invincible. Then I could finally give Jafar the worst stomachache of his life. You know, I'm not entirely sure how me controlling Sora even works here, but hey, he's up there floating around like Superman, so I guess I won't worry about it. Another problem that shows up, though, is I can't perform the fruit roll-up reaction command, so the fight just freezes there. I eventually did figure out how to get Mickey on the carpet. Only problem with that, though, is the carpet doesn't have its normal control scheme. I can't go up or down with the right stick like I would with Sora. But I can do the reaction command now, which doesn't take me anywhere because it's a 2-parter, so all I really get out of it is an extreme close-up of Jafar's pearly genie whites. It's kind of weird. I thought I'd be T-stance coming back out of that if I couldn't get the second part, but I wasn't. The biggest problem with this fight is the fact that I can't lock onto his damn head. For some reason, Mickey can't do it. I can't raise the carpet up to go to his head, so I have no way to actually damage him to end the boss fight. So since there's no way to semi-normally do this fight, I gave Mickey a code that gave him infinite jump so I could at least get to his head and see what would happen if I was actually able to fight the boss. And it might go well if it wasn't for damn lightning. I swear, when you see a boss with lightning in Kingdom Hearts, all the fun is about to get erased. I tried my damnedest to get to his DM, I just could not get Mickey to live long enough to do it. And look at this damn carpet ride. The 100 RPM spinner. It was at this point where I got tired of Jafar's shit, so I decided to see if I could put a laser beam through his head and kill him that way. Couldn't you guess it? The laser beam has no effect on him. Of course. One of my attempts at this had Jafar end up standing sideways, which is something that only happened twice in the Riku run. I still don't know how I got him to do this, but whatever I did, I was frozen here and couldn't move. I just had to watch Jafar flex on my ass. Whatever, I'm out of ideas. I guess you get to live, Jafar. Now I go back to the god-awful Pride Lands, and I go to another god-awful boss called Ground Shaker. Now with Riku, this entire fight was just all fucked up. Well, it's even more asinine here. When I'm playing as Mickey, this beginning segment T-stands me like it did Riku, but it also freezes me half a second after he steps on me the first time. Oh, I wish I could say that was the end of the fight. I figured out that if I spam the attack button, I can keep the game from freezing. Well, that's great and all. Immediate problem after that, though, is at some point in between me jumping and attacking and the rest of that DM, or whatever you want to call it, I become T-stanced again. And since I'm at 1 health after his first hit, I'm screwed. And yet again, I say, I wish that was the end of me attempting this shit. My solution to the health problem was finally using a damn item in this world, and once I had all those solutions, I could actually finally fight the boss. And I really wish I could say I wasn't, because his electric attacks are by far the most annoying electric attacks in the game. And yeah, I'm including Larxine's electric attacks in that equation too when I say that. You cannot dodge these, you cannot block these, they last for 40 damn years, and they're accurate as all hell. There is no way to deal with these things without reflect or a limit. The only way I was making it on Ground Shaker's back was by spamming the attack button and saying a prayer that they somehow wouldn't hit me. Once you're up here, sometimes he wants to play nice and not kill you and just sit there and watch you attack him, and then other times he's a fucking prick. He was very inconsistent with it. I don't understand why. It wouldn't really matter if I was playing as Lion Sora or even regular Sora, but since Mickey only has physical blocking, and literally all of this guy's attacks are magic-based and unblockable, I think you can see how this would be a pain in the ass. After being able to whittle his health down enough, I got off his back, and that's when I deal with the part that bothers me second most. I'll get to the first after this. This disgusting-ass fire trail is just one of the ugliest attacks in the game. That's the only way I can put it. It's just terrible to deal with, and the fact that I can't see myself makes it so much worse. After you jump off his back, you're supposed to hit his eyeballs, and one of my problems with this fight, even when you're not playing as Mickey, is this motherfucking camera. If you're locked onto his eyes at all, the camera wants to shift away from the fire you're supposed to be staring at. That can be a real problem when I can't see myself to dodge it either. So this fire is a problem because it puts me at 1 health at 1 hit. It's extremely difficult to tell the depth between me and the fire. I can't tell how much width or room I need. And Mickey has to be in the air 97% of hitting the eyes because they're like never on the ground. So he's automatically always jumping to them. And if I'm in the middle of the air, there's no dodging. Now I'm going to get to my number 1 problem with this, and it's back at the beginning. It's this part where I have to like use potions and shit. It's not consistent. Like, it crashes very easily. And it seems to me if I ever stop moving, and I mean ever, fucking even a little bit, as Mickey, he will T-stance and I won't be able to heal myself. And the only way I know if Mickey's T-stanced or not, since I can't see him, is the item highlighter on the command board going on and off. And even then, that shit's not consistent, because right here it's going on and off. And when I get to the end, guess where I am? In hell. So, with all that being said, after way, and I mean way, too many fucking attempts of this, I figured out that all of this doesn't matter anyway, because with the maximum amount of items, by the time I get to about maybe 1 health bar of his left, he just does the DM again. And by that point, I'm at items. And while I'm not locked into the animation of it, what am I going to do? I can't heal. I'm going to get hurt by him at some point anyway. In summary for this boss, it's just a nightmare. It's a complete nightmare for Mickey. Everything that Mickey can do well, he can't do here. Everything that's his weakness, it's exposed. At least with Riku, this boss had the fucking common courtesy to not even let me on his back and just kill me instantly. With Mickey, this boss is just torture. You know, I probably shouldn't let a challenge run affect my judgments of a boss, but I think this cemented this boss as my least favorite boss in this game, by far. I didn't like him before fighting him as Mickey, and this shit did not help his case. Alright, now since I've finally exited the zoo, I can finally go fight Xaldin. And to basically just waste time, my first attempt at him, I just tried going straight in. And doing that is about as safe as playing Russian roulette with a MP40. And of course, everybody obviously knows RCs don't work, so jump's not going to work. So the really only effective way to do this is by blocking him with Mickey's ass. I mean, I'm serious about that. That's the best angle that Mickey can block with, so you have to turn your back to Xaldin to block him. Sometimes, though, the Keyblade's blocking still clips him, so it fucks me over because his wind field comes immediately back. And even most of the times I do block him, I still get hit through it. Those problems are pretty much a breeze compared to this DM, though, where your only defense for it is just spamming and hoping the blocks connect. Ultimately, that unfortunately came under Mickey's control, because sometimes he decided to do dogshit combos that don't have blocking at all. Hell, even sometimes when you would do good ones, Xaldin would still get through. Now, speaking for base form Mickey, he can still do the block, but his damage is so pitiful, this fight is terrible with him. Now, for the base game, this is probably the boss that a lot of people have fought with Mickey on the most in the game. So I'm sure there's a lot of experience out there for people fighting this boss with Mickey. It's still not great, though. Pearl can only get you so far, so this fight probably still wouldn't end well for the original game's Mickey. And when it's Monkey, he makes Mickey scrub the floors really fast. That's about all he's good for. I mean, seriously, this mouse is packing some speed on this spin. If I could actually move at that speed, nothing be able to touch me. For Boss Killer Mickey, though, he's not that bad. And there are way worse organization fights coming up later. Oh, now we got a little interesting dynamic boss battle here with Mickey versus Riku. Or it would be if these atrocious little asshole Heartless ever got off me. I mean, really, when not using Speed Trap, these things are the most annoying Heartless in the world. And the reason I don't use the reaction command is because it either throws you across the arena or you freeze. Speed Trap? More like fucking Mouse Trap! The damage that Riku does to me compared to the damage the Heartless do to me, it's not even in the same neighborhood. And that's not to say Riku wouldn't kill me, but that's pretty much after the Heartless already done the dirty work for him. Now, you think I'd be able to keep my health up with all the Heartless that are dying, but, you know, Mickey's really bad at killing them, and so is Riku, actually. So there aren't a lot of HP orbs to get, and they're not big enough orbs to make a difference anyway. Now, the reason I'm using base form Mickey first is I thought this Riku was a boss that didn't require a finisher to beat, because you technically don't beat him. Well, he still does. Guess it's time to whip out Old Reliable. And he could not have made the fight any easier, because that second Keyblade comes in real handy in blocking all them Heartless attacks. So Boss Killer Mickey just wipes out the difficulty of this fight, and I get past him pretty easily. And here I go defending China again, this time from Storm Rider. And this first reaction command is called Hang On. Well, for Mickey, they should call it Become His Spine. It's a good thing he doesn't like it very much, because he immediately expels me from it. But don't worry, we got another one called Ride the Wind. Well, if you do that one, the floor becomes slicker than owl shit. I also can't do anything until he wants to hit me. So now we're 0 for 2 on that front. Okay, Mickey, I'll give you one last chance. I would call that one train accident, because that's what it felt like. Now, this is one of the final bosses in the game that Mikola can come help you in, and it's also one of the bosses that's actually easier with him because Pearl just connects on this dude very hard. Now, base form Mickey can beat this boss, but I had to have the Michelin Man's help twice to be able to get the 0 health. Without that, he probably wouldn't win, but I'll give him this one. There's not much to say about Boss Killer Mickey here. It was just significantly easier, but it still took a long-ass time to kill him. He has way too much health. So, Storm Rider, I'd say he's a complete success for Mickey. And now we got Hades, and this fight was one of the easier ones, so I don't have much to say about him. I obviously have to have Hercules in this fight, or else I would never be able to damage him, which technically means he cannot solo this boss, but we'll just give him a shot anyway. The only bit of anything here is the fact that I have to hit the balls into him physically, because, you know, time stoppage. Now, Hades does have a lot of damage, but, you know, that's not a problem if he never touches you. This is, like, really one of the most one-sided fights in this run. He hardly ever even gets a hit in. Surprisingly, for a guy made of fire, he does not make Mickey break a sweat. Alright, so before we get to the Black Coat Bonanza, we got one more Disney boss, and that's the MCP, but before we can get to the MCP, we gotta deal with Sark. Now, admittedly, he actually gave me a pretty good fight the first time. He also pulled this boomerang bullshit backhanded fucking thing on me and killed me. I'm not gonna lie, that shit actually looked pretty sweet for a death. But after that one glorious kill, he did not get farther. And apparently that one blow I just did to kill him as Mickey broke his brain to the point where he didn't even know where the fuck he was when he was fighting Sora. Like, the dude tossed a disc at me, and then he tried to walk away from the fight. It's like Mickey gave him immediate short-term memory loss. Anyway, now that I'm past that, I can go to Easter Island Face and the Wall. And you need Tron. So it's another one of them fights where I absolutely need someone. That doesn't really matter though, because it's a reaction command, and we all know what happens with reaction commands. Don't you remember? We get teleported to the center of the fucking sun. Does that mean I win? Unfortunately, no it doesn't, so now I gotta move on to base form Mickey. And just like in the Riku run, when you do this reaction command, it don't work. Or, well, maybe it does, for like 1 HP. And yet again, I don't have the time for that. So then I made Sark and MCP play role reversal, and I wanted to see if I could hit the MCP if he was actually right in front of me. Well, I mean, obviously the answer's no, because it actually doesn't even have a hitbox. You can't lock onto it anyway normally, so why would I expect to be able to hit it? It doesn't even actually exist. I also tried doing this thing where if you remove the wall, maybe I could just do the reaction command over and over again. Well, there is no reaction command. I guess the wall technically has to be destroyed for you to do it. Okay, so what would happen if I made the wall into something just easy to kill? So I made the wall into some bees, and then killed them. And as a surprise to no one, that doesn't work either. So now Cogsworth is gonna work, right? The little fucker didn't even try. Whatever, computer wins. So finally, after all that, we go to Twilight Town, and that's where the world's longest fight with like 5 nobodies takes place with Micah and Mickey. Seriously, this fight took me like 10 whole minutes for no reason. Both of them are just so fucking weak it hurts. And then after that, we get to fight with Axel, and thankfully he's much better than Mickey is at killing nobodies. And trust me when I say this, I don't think Mickey can solo this. So I didn't even attempt it. Also, I just adore that after this fight, all the nobodies decided to get digitized and freeze the game. Okay, now we can go to the world that never was. And you know what that place has got? It's got Roxas. He is simultaneously the best, the worst, and the hardest fight in the run. And I absolutely promise, nothing else comes close. Now obviously, yeah, there's bosses in this run that I wasn't able to beat, and there was bosses that were tough, but none of them required me to lock in as hard as this one did. And yet for as hard as it was, I don't actually even hate fighting this guy as Mickey. Now let me explain all the things that make this a pain in the ass first. First of all, manipulating his revenge value is a must, because if you don't, he's gonna knock your health immediately down to 0 with his air retaliation. But even on the ground, his retaliation is bad because of Mickey's dogshit attacks that leave him wide open sometimes. The only one way you can block him is by jumping and attacking the moment he starts to pierce off his ground combo. It's by far one of the best ways to get damage off of him. And oh boy, the lasers. The #1 gigantic problem. Good old searing lasers. Impossible to block, and Mickey is too slow to dodge them. Always a health drainer. But hey, I remembered the items this time, and I'm gonna need every single fucking one of them. And while I said you have to lock in for this, there is still an immense amount of luck you need to win this fight. Because once the second phase kicks in and then lasers start coming out his ass at 100 miles an hour, there's just nowhere to go and hardly anything you can do. The majority of it is just flailing around and hoping you don't die. The only thing in this entire fight that's halfway easy is this DM. It's just walk to the right. Hell, Mickey does it better than Riku did. Item waste is at an all-time high in this fight. I use it to get out of jail over and over again. But even using items is a risk because Mickey's animation is so slow he makes me pay for it a lot. You gotta time its usage almost perfectly. And also, even with the block, the Keyblade landing on the ground fucks me over sometimes because it just kills an opportunity for more damage because it knocks Roxas halfway across the arena for no reason. And oh yeah, there's the good old toothbrushing action. Like, I know I've mentioned its dog shit like 3 times already, but this fight really exacerbates it. And this combo finisher right here is just as equally as terrible. I mean, look at how long I was stuck in the air there. With all that being said, I actually had fun fighting him as Mickey. There was just something oddly satisfying about fighting him with Mickey and the way you had to parry and dodge. For a while, I was actually enjoying it. It felt like a fresh new way to fight Roxas. Although I probably feel the same way if I just didn't use Reflect in the main game. I think with the way the fight goes, it makes me appreciate Roxas more than I did before. That being said, the fight's still not fair, and it's still full of jank that almost ruins it. Once again, one of the worst things to deal with in this fight is the lasers in the second phase. There's barely any good, consistent way to deal with them in there. If you can get Roxas to the far side of the arena and jump away from him, you can kind of manipulate him to like have a hallway down your direction so you won't get hit by him. But even then, that's not consistent. Because a good chunk of the attempts where you try to get away, the top of the laser will clip you and send you back down to the ground. Hell, sometimes the lasers just seem to have a mind of their own. He's also always had this shitty spinner attack that has no wind-up or tell that it's coming at all. I've always hated it, and I swear Square put it in the game just to say you're taking too long and just kill you instantly. There's also one other thing that's a major issue, and it's Roxas's grab, I guess you could call it. Obviously, it's supposed to be when Sora and Roxas go into like their little duel minigame inside the boss battle. And when Roxas tries to do that to Mickey, we're done. So it's really nice that he can just end my fight whenever he feels like it. And when I mean anytime he feels like it, anytime he feels like it. Even when he's got 1 bar of health left. God damn, that's so good to look at. And look, the reason I say it like that is the amount of time it took me to beat him after that death, it's a horrendous number. And look, I'm going to go as far as to say this is actually the hardest thing I've ever done in KH2 in general. Like this boss battle right here as Mickey. Now sure, if I had killed him that one time where he had 1 bar of health left, I might not feel that way. But for the amount of times it took me to get back to that point, oh hell no. In summary, it's an oddly satisfying fight because it pushes your back against the wall, makes you use every bit of Mickey's bullshit, and it's a weirdly rewarding jank fight. It's kind of like the fact that it doesn't work well makes it work well, if that makes any sense. Best, worst boss fight I've ever had the displeasure of taking part of. Weirdly, a cool fight. Now thank Christ I'm never doing it again. And in complete contrast to Roxas, now we have a boss I don't like fighting with Mickey at all. Xigbar. But not even because he's hard, just because he's really, really annoying. Now obviously this fight starts out with this little gimmick here where he gets up on the grassy knoll and gets ready to take your head off. Now you can stop that with a reaction command. Yeah, you see the problem, right? Well, my only fallback, like every other fight, is to just flail around and see what happens. And luckily for me, Mickey's actually capable of blocking these shots. Which isn't really surprising, because Sora can do it too. Honestly, it's not even that hard of a thing to dodge, it's just Mickey's so goddamn slow, other than jumping, he can't really do anything about it besides that. And oh boy, let me tell you, if you ever wanted to do it without the reaction command, no you don't. No you don't. You know why you don't? Because it takes 55 fucking seconds every time for this segment to end if you don't. Whoever made that reaction command did not want you to miss it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I made a save state after that whole segment was over. I could not do that over and over again, because I definitely died to this boss a lot. Like I said, it's not like it's a hard thing to actually dodge or block, it's just a fucking time waster. Now I guess really the better question is, why didn't I do that for Ground Shaker? That was a missed opportunity. Now once he's actually fighting me and not just sniping me, Mickey can deal with his red lasers very, very well. The blocking just completely nerfs them. Not to say I've never gotten hit by him, but if I just spam jump attacks, he's usually fine. Those aren't an issue. But this blue Spawn of Satan arrow that he's got, that thing single-handedly makes this fight disgusting. Once again, no reaction command, and I swear to God, I never ever didn't get hit by it when it showed up. When it's around, you cannot target Xigbar because it's going to hit you. And flailing around can only do so much because this thing takes forever to disappear. And you know what doesn't help either? When he pulls another one right out of his ass right after the other one despawns. And problem number 2 is the DM. Obviously, it's completely unblockable, but the way you usually dodge it is running in a circle. Well, Mickey's little stubby mouse legs cannot keep up with this, and you can't. You just can't. He can't dodge it at all. He gets hit by this every time, any angle you run. Now, remember I said this boss isn't that hard? Well, he's really not, if you use items. And the reason I'm not using items here is because I've locked myself into a save state, and the last save I had is a million miles back. So I can't go get more items. I think I have about 1 item here, and I had like no money here either too. So even if I went back, I'd have to go farm money, and I just did not feel like doing that. And that basically meant I needed to find a way to DM skip him. Because since I can't dodge the DM, I would have to go through the rest of the fight with 0 health, and that's just not going to happen. I'm sure this is known by plenty of people, but if you hit him during his blue laser attack when he's at his damage threshold for going into his DM phase, he'll skip the DM for the rest of the fight. And to be honest, when I was fighting him, I didn't actually know that. I only learned that watching the clips back. At least I think that's the way it works. You hit him when he's doing anything else, and he just goes straight into it. Once I got him to finally cooperate with me, and his DM was skipped, it was just about dodging blue lasers until his health bar hit 0. After what I just went through with Roxas, half an hour of Xigbar is not that bad. So after getting firing squatted by Xigbar, we move on to the physical manifestation of a casino, Luxord. Or Luxord. Or whatever the hell they're calling these days. Now remembering the beginning of this fight, you get turned into a die, no matter what. Now I'm always weary of that when I'm playing as something that's not Sora, but it seems to always work out fine. That is until now. Not only did that die make me lose my Keyblade, now he can't even jump, which makes him really worthless. It's such an odd thing too, because when Mickey comes out of the die, He's locked in T-stance, but he also has this golden aura over him, and the only other time you see that is when Mickey has his D charge full when you're normally playing as him. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but it doesn't really matter. It makes literally no difference. But also, as you can see, Mickey can finally use magic all of a sudden. And by used, I mean T-stance trying to use it, but you get what I mean. So while Mickey's like this, the only thing he can do is ground attack or air attack after he's been hit in the air. But once again, gigantic problem here is that Mickey lost his second Keyblade, so every bit of defense he's ever had is now completely gone. Which means now he's about as worthless as regular Mickey is, so we might as well bring him out. And oddly enough, the exact same thing happens. Golden aura and the same animation, the only difference is I don't get T-stance coming out of it. But at least now I can actually jump too. Also now I can kinda use the reaction commands. I can also play a stupid little minigame and get immediately smacked in the mouth for it. Which that's really messed up because that minigame is the only way I could probably beat this boss, because base form Mickey's damage is still ass and he still has no defense. When you press on it, normally he asks you, do you know the rules? Well, whatever rule it was, I must have broke the fucking thing instantly because he kills me immediately for it. You can still do the minigame, but he has to actually choose to not attack you immediately to do it. Also, the card is actually okay for Mickey. For Riku it was not, but here it's fine. It doesn't really make any difference. Once I'm out of the card, it's the same thing as once I'm out of the die. There is no change. And right here, I actually end up doing his minigame right, but he also tries to do his minigame again while he's still doing it, and it's like he has a delayed reaction to me winning the first one. Which, if I could get him to do this over and over again, I could make his time go down. But it's just not feasible. If he's not hitting you, he's doing this double game shit. And even when I get it right, if he chooses to do it again while I'm T-stance, I can't do anything. There's just no conceivable way for Mickey to win this fight. Whatever game Luxord's playing, the only way for Mickey to win it is by not playing it. And time for the angriest man on Earth, Saix. And I don't know what he's angry about. I wish I could figure it out so I could help him out, because when he's angry, he makes this fight a painful slog. Now usually it wouldn't be, but if you know this boss, you know why. So, since I can't knock him out of Berserk, I have to just air juggle myself for minutes on end until he feels like stopping. Which truly isn't too bad the first couple of times he does it because his moveset stays simple, but once you get into the deeper parts of his health bar and he starts doing his attack really fast and then right on top of you, it becomes a problem. And if my ears ever unfortunately hear, I know it's time to pray to God, because there's a good chance I'm getting ready to die. And in what's become a theme for Mickey the entire run, this fight takes exponentially longer because I can't use one singular reaction command. And that's really all this fight is, 90% dodging his DM, which is his whole moveset, and then only 10% getting actual hits in on him. But it's even less than 10% when you're like in his final bar of health, because his Berserk meter goes up really fast. Which is why it's a painful slog, because if there was any point where I died, that was a whole lot of waiting to hit him again. Really, there was no secret why I ended up beating him. I only had 3 potions at this point, and the margin for error on dodging all this was too low for that number. So I had to actually back out of this fight and finally go get more potions. Which at that point gave me 6 potions, and I had to use every single one of them. Now, I probably could have played that safer and not had to use so many, but it doesn't really matter when I get them back anyway. Also, this final fight where I actually finally killed him took 10 whole minutes from start to finish. It's really, really not fun at all. These organization bosses since I've gotten into this world have been agonizing, so hopefully Xemnas might not be too bad? Maybe? Now, when I say he may not be too bad, that's a matter of perspective, because what he does to me is not bad, at least in terms of wasting my time. So, right off the bat, reaction command, can't do it, so I'm screwed, right? Well, that's what I thought until I restarted the fight and realized I could actually hit him before he did this attack to me. But in the end, it really doesn't matter because the timing on it has to be perfect, so I kept reloading a save state over and over again just to get it to happen. And more often than not, it didn't work. So I got really familiar with looking at Xemnas' goofy-ass face. And even when it did work, whatever amount of damage I put in was not enough to skip this attack. I don't know how much I would need to put in, but I never got to it. And now I get to use base form Mickey because there's no other option. And once I get him out here, he starts bringing out Xemnas' Shenanigans. So hitting this reaction command as base form Mickey just makes the animation play with nothing happening, which I kind of expected. But apparently Xemnas is a lot more powerful than I thought he was, because he sends Mickey to see the
Eye of God.
Or at least that's what I'm calling it, because what happens is after the reaction command is done, Mickey is teleported underneath the map, and he just falls for eternity, getting away further and further from the boss arena. Funny thing is, Xemnas is still up there trying to hit something the entire time I'm falling, too. He ain't trying to fight Mickey because he ain't there no more. Guy must be fighting some fucking demons up there that I'm even afraid of. Oh, this is why I love you, Xemnas. You never ever bore me. Now moving on to the finale, I have to do this building part, and for Mickey that's just attacking, because these buildings apparently can't hit him. They're really not threatening in the slightest. But what is a threat is a crash. That's really scary. And Boss Killer Mickey's out, so here comes regular Mickey. And what can regular Mickey do? Well, I can tell you what he doesn't do. He doesn't give a fuck about these buildings. Now tell me what you'd rather have. Would you rather have the power to cut through buildings, or have the buildings be so afraid of your presence that they cut themselves to pieces? I mean, look, Mickey didn't even move. He's standing in the same place. He doesn't really need that, though. The buildings still show no threat, so he can move on. One thing I'm very certain that Mickey does fear, though, is being sent to the Void, and here goes Xemnas doing it again to him. For some reason, whatever happens in this animation for this building will always send whatever character that's not Sora through the map. Happened to Riku, happens to Mickey. Hell, I even took Sora along for the ride here to see if that actually is true, and it is. He gets to go up the elevator while I have to go onto the ground. And, well, bad thing for him is a building actually falls on his head and kills him up there, so I guess I'm the lucky one. Okay, so Mickey's 0 for 1 on this. Let's go up to blowing the engine. Can he blow up the engines? Well, he can blow up one, and then apparently he slips on a banana peel and falls off the entire ship. So, no. And even down here, the engines going off kill Mickey, so there's no escaping death here. Oddly enough, sometimes when I would do the reaction command to jump off the engine after I've killed it, Mickey would be T-stanced in the air instead of falling? I don't really understand it, and I still don't understand it. I have not found a reason why this happens. And I loaded the state a lot, and it just seems random. So I guess that's going to be forever a mystery. So one of the few times I was actually able to get him to fall forever again, I put on the code where I can infinitely jump like I did for Jafar. So I tried to jump all the way over to the other platform. Well, the problem with that is by the time I get over to that platform, the other engine's getting ready to blow up, so guess what I have to do again? The same damn thing, but just on the left. So, I don't think this would work anyway, and I don't care enough, so I'm moving on. And if you're wondering, Mickey can do the core part. These nobodies really kick his ass, though, and he needs all of his items, so base form Mickey cannot do this, but Boss Killer Mickey can. Which means Mickey actually does this part better than Riku. Riku went 0 for 3 on this, Mickey went 1 for 3. It's not much better, but it is better. But now I can get to that good shit, Armored Xemnas 1. Oh! He kicked my ass! Okay, that was just because I wasn't careful. There's nothing else in this fight that could be a problem.
Guess who?
Oh, motherfuck. Like I didn't get enough of these guys in 2 fights already, I gotta see them one more time. But at least this time it's not just the water clones, I get killed by everybody's attacks. And that's the whole crux of this fight, is dodging these other organization weapons. It's not really Xemnas. He's easy to dodge, it's just all the shit with him. The time Xemnas does hit me, it's like because the attacks whiff right in front of him, and he's always had an odd hitbox, to be honest. But hey, if you're worried, the water clones are still by far the most annoying thing that he can pull out, like always. But I mean, what is this? What is this right here? They can just phase through shit to come get me now? Come on, man. Once you kill the water clones once, luckily they don't respawn, but still the only way I can get through this fight is by extreme item waste, which I hate doing. Anyway, now we can move on to Dragon Xemnas, where I'm sure I won't be able to win. So unlike in my Riku run where I could not figure out a way to replace this glider, I actually ended up doing it. And I had Mickey just be the glider. But for some reason I also had Sora and then another Mickey down there. I'm not sure which one's Riku and which one. I'm sure the Sora is the original Sora. I don't know what the fuck's going on here, to be honest. I'm pretty sure all I did was put everything in this segment into a Mickey. And somehow Sora was still there, but you know, whatever. And for me, this was the biggest shock in the run, because I thought, well, Mickey can't do anything here, right? Well, lucky for me, these nobodies come right at Mickey's face, and he can actually hit them into the tail. I cannot believe I found something that can actually damage this fucking boss. But really, that's not even the biggest shock. The biggest shock happens after I get to this second part with the engine. Mickey says, screw it! I'm not sitting here! He literally leaves the spot where the glider is supposed to sit and works his way to the engine and starts hitting it physically with his keyblade. I had no idea this could even be possible. But then one more surprise hits me. The other Mickey that was left in the dust way in the back just comes from off screen and does the exact same thing. I want you to know I put nothing in for this, other than just changing shit into a Mickey. And the only thing I'm doing in the game is pressing the attack button over and over again while locked onto the engine. That's the only thing I'm doing here. And just as an observation here, this ship is gigantic. By the time Mickey gets to it, he is a literal speck on the screen. I can barely even see where he is. You can really tell how far away it is when these nobodies try to teleport to the Mickey. Like, they almost teleport to a minimized state. The only thing I can guess is that since this is like an on-rails section and like the only one of its kind in the entire game, other than maybe like Pooh Bear's world, that these Mickeys have broken off the rails of it. But when the camera still moves, they go with it, but not really. They still break off it. It's such an odd thing. And look, here comes another surprise. Hi, Sora. Where you been, man? Boss is halfway dead. You're finally here. I mean, I can't attack or do anything with this Sora anyway, so it's kind of pointless for him to be here regardless. Once the camera starts moving positions, you can just see the speed everybody's packing here. And depending on the way the camera moves, the Mickeys actually have to catch back up to the screen, so they're stuck behind it. Truly, this is one of the more insane things I've seen in this game. I did not think another character would be able to hurt it, not even kill it, but Mickey just straight up murders it. That's fucking crazy to me, especially with the way he does it. Well, unfortunately for Mickey, as much of an achievement as killing that dragon was, him against Armored Xemnas 2 is about as much of a failure. Because of the way the physics work in this boss fight, he's not allowed to jump anymore. And when Mickey cannot jump in this game, this might as well be this. Well, I could still work the fight, I just have to ground combo. Well, the problem is, Xemnas' hitbox is just the ugliest thing ever for Mickey. I don't know why, he just whiffs the first attack a lot. I mean, I'm able to hit him, it's just way more painful. And if you're wondering why Riku's here, I did not find a way to take him out, and I couldn't find a way to take him out before either, so I don't know, maybe he's just locked into this forever. Trying to get past Xemnas' damage threshold is a pain in the ass, because Mickey just loves to slip off him at every chance he gets. Eventually, the fucking Tin Man here finally wanted to knock me out into space, and this is where the fight's over. And that's for two reasons. Mickey cannot use arrow recovery out here worth a damn. Instead of being fast, it turns into like this slow T-stance jump that really doesn't do you any good when you do it. And if you want to forget everything I just said for the past minute, this is the only problem right here that you need to worry about. Can't continue, nothing matters. And I tried it with regular Mickey, but he can't get past the damage threshold because, remember, he has no finishers. And it truly doesn't matter, but it doesn't help that he's also deep-fried dog shit at this point in the game. He blew his entire load on that dragon, that is for sure. Ah yes, we're finally here at Cookies and Cream Xemnas. Well, to be honest, I'm pretty sure how this is going to go, it's just about how fast we're going to get there. And we're already there, never mind. That was fucking instantaneous. This is literally the game's most prominent grab attack, and, you know, obviously that's the freeze. That is freeze, up and down. Well, don't worry, Mickey always finds a way, and in this way, he found it the same way as he found it in Xemnas 1. He jump attacks. Immediately. The instant he can. Except unlike Xemnas 1, I can actually continue the fight this time. Only problem is when I die, actually replicating that jump attack hitting him is very, very hard. So it's another one of those situations where I end up making a save state and I just can't help it. I mean, he can do the grab during the middle of the fight too after the beginning, but I'm not that worried about it because it doesn't happen that often. What does happen often is during the second phase of this fight, he asks me if I can spare a heart multiple times, non-stop. And I knew before it ever happened that would freeze me, so I used a potion to stop the animation from happening. Riku couldn't spare one, and I knew damn well Mickey couldn't either. Only problem is I had to waste my items every time he did this, so if I wasn't doing damage enough to get him to his laser dome, then I had to backtrack to the beginning of this and do it again. And really when he's like this, you can't really do a whole lot of damage to him because he has no stagger, and he's just perpetually shooting lasers at you the entire time. When I finally did reach that damage threshold, the game just crashes, which honestly was expected. It's still sad because I want to get Mickey in there, so I wasn't done yet. So let's get the damn lab rat in there. Well, first off, Mickey gets grabbed but not, but he can also do the reaction command really fast. But it's so fast it's not good. It's almost like he's just getting hit faster, really. Mickey cannot survive this first attack. The reaction command's not good enough. Him swinging his Keyblade doesn't block anything Xemnas throws at him, and Riku does not have anything for him here. He cannot help him. He is royally fucked here. Look, normally this is where I would just say the fight's unwinnable, but goddammit, I want to see this mouse inside of the laser dome. So all bets are off now. I'm just straight up cheating. I gave him infinite health. And apparently that frightened Xemnas so bad that he started fighting them fucking demons I was talking about earlier again. Well, I still have one more hurdle to get through, and that's me figuring out whether I can spare a heart or not, and I do not think I can. Most of this right here looks normal, other than the fact that Mickey is in the ground T-stance. But what's odd about it is when I come back, I have no control over Riku, who's over there, and Xemnas kills Mickey. And when I say kills Mickey, Mickey evaporates and turns into Sora. So there is no more Mickey. Also, for whatever reason, when I become Riku, I have lost all my ability to attack with him. So I can't kill this Xemnas who's very, very aggressive and loves to just spam the shield over and over again. Which all this doesn't matter anyway, because the reaction command to save Sora is nowhere to be found, anywhere in this arena. So this is just a soft lock. Now he has left me with absolutely no choice. I put his health to 0 and skipped everything about him. And still, stupidly enough, I have to hit him twice to make him go into his DM. But I'm finally here, and it's finally gonna happen. And can you guess what happens? Well, unless you like hearing Mickey be hurt or doing his best Zoidberg impression, whatever that sounds like to you, there's not much here. But really, the reason I wanted to get into the dome is so I can get to the final cutscene where Xemnas is getting his ass rocked by Sora. And I just wanted to see what playing as Mickey would be like for that, like, in-fight cutscene. So am I going to get to see that? Son of a bitch. I tried a couple of different things after this, none of them really mattered. And, you know, I don't even know what the fuck I did here, honestly. I don't even remember. Apparently I made Steamboat Willie into something in the fight that was not Riku, Sora, or Xemnas. And the only thing it did was it made Mickey say no to the Laser Dome. He really doesn't want any part of this thing. So there's like a couple different things I'm seeing right now that make this make no sense to me. So when the camera zooms in, Mickey's not there. But then if I go super, super slow, there is a singular frame of Mickey so far out of the map that he looks like he's miles away from the fight. And then apparently he comes back at the speed of light and leaves at the speed of light. Riku, don't worry about it. I'm sure you'll be fine by yourself. I threw everything Mickey had in the kitchen sink at Xemnas, and none of it got me to where I wanted to go. So it's whatever. I'm moving on to post-game stuff now. So since I'm only doing bosses I haven't seen yet, I'm only going to do absent silhouettes and not all the data fights. And our first absent silhouette is Bookman, Zexion. And speaking of that book, the moment Mickey tries to read that thing, he has a fucking aneurysm and the game crashes. No matter what Mickey does, he cannot do anything about this book hitting him. He can jump, he can attack, it does not matter. The only thing that stalls it a bit is popping an item instantly. And that buys you about 2 seconds. And then, in complete contrast, Base Form Mickey could not give 3 shits about the book. If I could actually do finishers as this Mickey, this would be by far the easiest fight in the entire game. They probably should have given Zexion something when you're not inside the book to actually damage you, because it is actually pitiful that he has nothing for you unless you're in there. The only thing he has when you're free is a zesty-ass glide and the least threatening walk ever. That also always ends up in more gliding. I mean, they could have gave him like a little bitch slap or something, I don't know. I guess I'll call this one a draw. Well, up next we have Marluxia, and I'm really curious on how this one's gonna go. No, not anymore, I'm not. You know what, Marluxia? You have it. That's it. That's the record. That is the fastest someone has ever ended my boss fight. Right there. He crashed it so fast that the wide bars at the top and bottom of the screen are still there. That record is going to stand the test of time, guaranteed. And you know, I'm starting to see a lot of base form Mickey, and I wish I wasn't, because at this point in the game, seeing him means I'm about to get my ass caved in. So for once in my life, I get to see Marluxia actually talk to a body part that makes sense. Because usually the body parts that he does talk to are about as anatomically far away from an ear as possible. So my level is only 36, and unfortunately I have to start this fight T-stance, so I'm automatically giving him about 4 hits. So we're off to a really good start here. I'm really not sure if it's just Mickey being tortoise slow or Marluxia being flash fast. It's probably a combination of both, but either way, I feel like I'm fighting in mud against him. This fight without the ability to block or reflect is horrendous. The only semi-chance I have is abusing the reaction commands. And too bad for me, one of them straight up doesn't work. I press it and I start getting hit immediately. So that one's just free damage for him. The other reaction command, which is the more important one because it gets my counter to go back up, is way worse than it normally is. It works, but then I'm completely stuck and the number doesn't go up until he hits me. Usually the number would go up by like 13, now it's only going to go up by like 9. He hits me like 4 times before I can even react. It makes doing this reaction command way less worth it. And it's hard to get it to happen anyway because of Mickey's floaty ass nature. This long combo that Marluxia has ends up always clipping me, and then I can't get to it anyway. Since I can't move after the reaction commands, and I can't block Marluxia, his hyper armor also never goes off, so I can never stun him and hit him to put damage on him. This fight is just completely destroyed for Mickey, in every single way. I was able to get to his second set of attacks, where he does the pulls on the floor and then puts the cage around you of thorns. And it's probably because Mickey's too slow, but I got 1 hit by that thing, and I never got back to it. Maybe if you did have 100 hits to give, you might be able to slowly whittle his health down to 0. But that would be about as enjoyable as shoving a pine cone up your own ass. Mickey is just straight up not having a good time with these organization fights. And here comes somebody I don't usually think much of, Lexius. But Mickey's track record recently has not been too good, so for all I know, this could be like pulling teeth. The fight begins rather quietly, because apparently he has to power up for a long time for some reason against Mickey, and, you know, I have to give him the common courtesy. I have to let him do that. Once we do start fighting, his damage is so low in the beginning phases of this fight that I just keep spamming the attack button, and it actually, for once, works in Mickey's favor here. That is, until he puts his hands on me and grabs me. That won't be too bad if he doesn't spam that. Can you believe that's the only thing he did for an hour straight? I'm really not kidding you. In an entire hour of fighting this boss, he killed me, normal killed me, 4 times. Every other time I had to restart, it was because of this grab crash. It's such a pain in the ass because it has like a 50% chance of either being an attack you want to see that you need to go in and hit, or that attack that grabs you, and if you go in and get bad luck, then you're fucked. The only things you can do against it are flail around and hope, or use an item when it's happening, which really isn't even worth it. This thing has got an incredible hitbox. He will snatch you out the fucking air or from the side. I mean, even being T-stanced before he touches you can't protect you. There's no reason to really talk about anything else in this fight because this is really the only problem. I got him to 1 bar of health plenty of times, but it never mattered because whenever I got close, he would put that grip on me and the fight was over. And honestly, I was so frustrated with this, I wanted to call it quits right here. Hell, I even sent Xemnas in there because I was so pissed off at him to personally demote him by way of murder. But actually, after getting to this part in the video and editing it, I went back into the fight and killed him with Mickey. Because truthfully, I got pissed off watching this. He's a boss fight that otherwise would be easy, and the only reason he's anything is because he spams a grab. Oh, and by the way, to regular Mickey, they're just an inconvenience. It's like he's barely even touching them. These grabs simultaneously piss me off and disappoint me. What a combination. You know, I'm about to surprise myself and actually say some very nice things about Larxene. Comparing her to every absent silhouette I've fought, and even some of the organization members, she has the least amount of gimmick in her fight out of a lot of them. There's no grabs, there's no meters, there's not some different piece of health I need to whittle down, and while she has a reaction command, it's not even mandatory at all. If I were playing normally as Sora, I would usually call her boring or annoying. But shit, playing as Mickey, after the boss fights I've had recently, fighting her is actually a relief, which is something I never thought I'd say. For the first time in what feels like forever, I can actually block attacks again, at least somewhat decently. The only thing even slightly annoying is the DM, but I don't think that can ever not be annoying, so it's status quo. Also, her other DM is a little harder as Mickey, but that's just because he's too damn slow. With all that being said, she's also very easy, which doesn't mean I get relief for very long. Hell, I would have killed her in 2 tries if her DM didn't kick in right here. Like, damn, I mean, she's not even hard enough to where I have to use items to kill her, which is a rarity in this run. It was a nice break from some of the bullshit these bosses throw my way, but it does not last for long. Oh, hey, here's Vexen. Right back on the path, huh? Alright, man, what kind of journey is your boss battle gonna take me on? Oh. Fuck, I wish. I mean, I'd rather freeze there than literally be frozen by the biggest piece of penguin shit walking the Antarctic. Well, Vexen, it was a nice effort, but Marluxia still has you beat. But now because of you, I have to immediately fight you with a Mickey that's not good at all. And if there were any lingering doubts about how incapable this Mickey is, the moment Anti-Form Sora comes in, he completely crumbles. Although, to be fair, I don't think Boss Killer Mickey would be doing that much better. I mean, it's not like I can't beat the Anti-Form Sora. It's just he comes back instantly, so what's the difference? But hey, all that don't matter anyway. I can't even break his shield, so I can't even really fight him at all. Well, out of the absent silhouettes, I beat 2 out of 5. I guess at least the ones that I failed on made it quick.
Show me your strength.
Alright, look, Sephiroth. I know what you're about to do. I know what's going to happen to Mickey. I know you're going to take his head off, and it's going to freeze the game. All I can ask for from you is to just surprise me. Just don't do that. Could you please find it within yourself to somehow hit Mickey right now? and let him live past this first hit. Look, Mickey has had a tragic last couple of boss fights. Some of these bosses have just taken everything out of him. All he wants is a chance. Just one fight that's fair. One that tests him, but doesn't just end it immediately with a crash. He's not asking for this because he's weak. He's asking for this because he's tired. Because he's been battered and bruised by all these boss crashes. And all he wants now is an opponent who will respect him enough to not crash him the moment they touch him. Just let him live this one attack. Please.
That's enough.
Well, I tried.
Show me.
Oh yeah, and remember when I said Marluxia was going to hold that record for a long time?
That's enough.
It took 4 bosses to break it. I mean, hell, not only does he break it, he actually smashes it. He actually beats him to the punch by a whole second. So you know what? You give me that back. Congrats, Sephiroth. You're amazing. I think he's got the fastest time for regular Mickey, too.
That's enough.
Look at that shit. He can survive this if I jump, but then that's it. So forget even trying to beat the boss, Mickey can't even attack the boss or hurt him once. There is actually no way Lingering Will can be worse than this. Well, he's not. At all. He's the exact opposite, actually. The whole spiel that I gave Sephiroth, I should have just saved it for Lingering Will, because he actually would have listened. So if you don't know, there's 4 different ways Lingering Will can start his boss fight out. One with the cannon, one with the car, one with just hitting, and the one with a curse. Depending on what he starts with, it changes his moveset until the DM. So starting with the cannon, he hits me before I can even look at my character. If that crashed me, that would actually probably take the record from Sephiroth, so it's a good thing it doesn't. The problem with starting out with the cannon is that immediately after using the cannon, most of the time, he'll end up using the bow and arrow, and when he uses that, the game is over. I'm a little surprised that even crashes the game, because all it does is change your command board. It really doesn't do anything else, so I don't know why that needs to crash the game. Regardless of all that, escaping it is nearly impossible, so having the cannon be first is already out. Up next is his Keyblade car, and it's slightly better, but only slightly, because the majority of the time he loves to whip Mickey with his whip after getting out of his whip. But this is something Mickey actually can survive and doesn't crash him, so it's automatically better. But this combination of car and whip keeps me at a distance from him the entire fight, so I'm either never getting to him in time to hit him, or he's just going to end up killing me. Also, sometimes during this set, he would pull out the cannon and give me the most violent death ever by pushing me into it. Mickey's not helpless against the cannon either. He can easily push it back into Lingering Will, it's just he gets hurt a lot of the time trying to do it, or he gets hurt even when he does do it. Once you hit the second phase during the car set, he'll go back to using the bow and arrow. So that's when I decided to stop dicking with this one and move on to another one. So I went to the one that starts with physical hits, and those are by far the easiest to block. A good chunk of the time, though, Mickey is still too slow to take advantage of openings that come from this. So I was usually pressing for hits that weren't even actually there. The main thing draining my health in either of the last 2 phases, though, is the damn whip. If it weren't for the whip, I'd probably survive much, much better in this fight. But it's all not just Lingering Will's fault. Even this late in the game, Mickey's moveset is still fucking me over. When I was able to finally enter a phase change on this set of moves, he went into the cannon, and I got hit by it stupidly, but then he went right back to bow and arrow, so it didn't matter anyway. And now my last option, and funnily enough my best one, is to let myself get cursed on the curse one. Now there's 2 curses. There's one where you can only physically attack, and there's one where you can only use magic. If the magic one ever got me, then I'm fucked immediately. But 99% of the time he hit me with physical only, so I was fine. What makes this one easier than all the rest is he doesn't have the bow and arrow here, and he doesn't like to use the whip here. The only 2 things he loves doing is using the cannon and using normal physical attacks. And since I normally don't have to worry about my health being drained in an instant by the whip, it makes him very manipulated. The most dangerous thing he can pull out of here is the punch, and that's actually easily blockable or jumped over. And once I whittle this set down to second phase, he starts using the car, which while bad for the first phase, I'll definitely take for the second phase. Now eventually I got to the point where all hopes and dreams go to die, his DM. And there is not a fucking thing Mickey can do about it. He's nowhere near fast enough to get away from the things that are unblockable, and he doesn't have enough blocking power to block the shit that is. So could you get through it? Maybe, if you got lucky with every flail that you pressed. But that's as far as I ever got. I only got to his DM one time. His damage is just so high that the margin for error is very, very low. But at least I can say I did not go out on a dud. I mean, Lingering Will does have the bow and arrow thing to fuck me up, but everything else he actually gives me a pretty decent fight on. And up until a DM, most of the things he throws my way I can handle, maybe besides the whip. If I had maybe like 18 items instead of only 6, I might be able to beat him. But that's deviating way off course, and this entire run has deviated way off of what a normal Mickey run would look like, which would be 95% of the bosses making him dead on arrival. Well, this is the end. I finally reached it, and this run compared to the Riku run was egregiously harder. I mean, it was still a decent amount of fun, minus some of the bosses, but I'm probably not going to ever do a run like this again just because it's probably going to end up the same way. Lots of crashes, unwinnable fights, with crappier characters too. Which is saying something, because after using Mickey for this long, he's not a good character at all. Pearl really carries him in the main game. So the question remains, how many bosses can Mickey actually solo in this game? Well, it's actually easier to list the ones that he can't, because he actually beat more than he lost to, surprisingly. He cannot beat Demyx 1, the Hydra, Biest, which is just a broken clock simulator fight, the strongest boat in the world, Sack of Bugs, Demyx again, there's Loose Change Stuck in My Pants the fight, Gimmick Children, Jafar, Just the Worst Thing Ever, MCP, Robin Atkin Downs, Xemnas, the Thank You for Not Standing Up Xemnas fight, Final Zebraman, Mr. Whisper in Your Ear Marluxia, Mr. Freeze, literally, the fastest sword cut in the West, and some angry empty armor. So, comparing this to the Riku run, Mickey died to like 10 more bosses, but a lot of the bosses that Riku died to, Mickey died to for the exact same reason. Something technologically broke, yet again, and made the fight impossible immediately. Also, this run was harder in general, just because of the nature of the way I had to mod this. That's probably why this video is 30 minutes longer than the Riku video. Like I said, I won't do a run exactly like this ever again, because it's always going to end up in the same problems. I have other ideas for Kingdom Hearts also, so this won't be the end of Kingdom Hearts whenever I upload videos, which is, you know, big question mark. But if you stuck around and listened to my voice for 2 hours, thanks, I guess. You probably deserve a reward for that. And the reward is the video ending. I'll catch you later.